Okay, so I'm here with my boy, Brad Alcazar. How are you doing, Brad?
You literally just kind of randomly set up and hit record. Let's go. All right.
That's
I guess
right.
we're going.
We're going. I noticed we had 10 minutes. I noticed we had 10 minutes on the faction here. Wars. So I'm like, I've got to go now. Because have you tested the Dwarf Faction Wars yet?
Yeah, I actually love my dwarf team. It's one of my best teams, actually.
Yeah, same. I've been enjoying this one. I've been all the way through all of them, and it hasn't been a problem. But I would have had the full legendary Dwarf Faction Wars team, but I'm missing the Mountain King. So instead,
brutal.
I have a Grizzled Jarl filling in that spot.
Oh, yep. Okay.
So the topic of today's video, since I have my boy Brad here with me today, is now that we have played the game a while, and we're kind of getting more to, I don't want to say in-game, but, you know, around there, right? I mean, there's not too much that we haven't scraped the surface of content-wise at this point. So my feeling for you is, how has your daily routine in the game changed now that you're kind of more at the in-game? What is it you find yourself doing and trying to progress towards, as compared to, you know, when we were kind of starting out more in the mid-tier and it was trying to, oh, we got to get our clan boss team better and all that, and now you kind of, you got that done. What is it you find yourself working on now?
My daily routine in Raid has probably been the same for like 6 months. Whatever event is going on, that's the dungeon I grind, and then I check to see if there's like a super whale in my group. If there is, I don't even bother. I just let it go. If there's not a super whale, then I'll try to win my relentless gear. Otherwise, if there's a champion training event, I'm grinding XP. If there's a character I summoned that I want to work on, I'll grind the Minotaur. Yeah, but as far as daily routine, basically ever since I got Arbiter back in like, you know, when was that? Like August or September? Since that day, my daily routine hasn't really changed.
The same. And I would say I'm glad, because I was hoping that would be the answer, but it's kind of sad that there's not too much daily to do in the game. And where I'm going with this, you can probably guess, is that what is it we need to make the daily routine more enjoyable? And where I'm going with this, you can probably guess again, is the Void Tower, which is that we need, in my personal opinion, some kind of repetitive daily activity that is not, one, both the same day in, day out, and two, can give a variance in rewards. So like the Void Tower, for me, in order what it needs to be for me to be happy, is we need like 1 to 100 levels or something, right? You know, some kind of levels. And those levels either be different every single time, you know, or be based upon like the previous person who cleared the tower, right? Like, let's say you have 100 people clear the tower or something. You take some random of their teams. I don't know if you're familiar with the Galactic War system from Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, but they had a similar system where essentially what they would do is they would take random teams from people's rosters, put them together that the people had used in PvE before, recorded it, put it in there, and that's how they did the Galactic War, as opposed to like they did in the Faction Wars, where they kind of just put 5 Valkyries together.
Okay. No, I'm not familiar with that. This is kind of the only game of this type I've ever played. But yeah, no, something that changes the daily routine would for sure be welcome and definitely needed, because it's getting really monotonous. I know we're starting to see an influx of a lot of the, you know, content providers diving into other games and stuff because of what we've been talking about. The daily routine for the last 8 months is kind of unchanged. So if you're in the super end game, you're really getting into that monotonous point of time.
I agree. And one other thing I wanted to ask about is, we've talked about Faction Wars and kind of your daily, but we're also in the portion of time now where there's the arena. And the arena is coming to a grinding halt here in about, 10 hours, 9 hours, something like that. Yep. It's going to be coming down to the point, and everyone's going to be getting the new gear. Now, I know I have seen your opinion in our feedback chat. You have seen my opinion, obviously, the videos we've done. I don't know if we've done a video together where we've talked about this, but I was kind of hoping to have a conversation with you about the new gear, and particularly the unkillable gear with the 50% chance. The question I want to ask you is that, do you believe this unkillable gear set with the 50% unkillable chance is going to find its way into being needed outside of the arena at some point in the game? Like, do you think they're going to come out with content where you need either the deflection gear or the unkillable gear, and that's going to be some type of arena monetization paywall against other people to beat like the new clan boss, for instance? Or do you really think this is just for the arena people and gives those people something to fight and, you know, battle out the monetization wall for them?
Possibly. I don't really see this happening, but the only thing I can think of off the top of my head is maybe a champion or an artifact set or something that buffs the percentage chance of things like that to happen.
I see.
So say you have a champion who places a buff where it's like increase, you know, percent chance. So that all of a sudden that 50% becomes 75 if you have a champion that boosts that chance. If there was some sort of mechanic that came into the game off of a champion's passive or off of a champion's buff that it can help allies with, or even if they rework the masteries, add like a T7 past tier 6. That's the only time, because you can't really count on RNG, especially if that's why, you know, you'll see endgame people build their damage dealers with 100% crit instead of 95. Like, you need to be able to count on things to perform. So the fact that it's a 50% chance is a little bit low, but I wonder if there's going to be a mechanic in the works in the future to buff that chance of those things in some way.
Okay, good response. For me, I think that originally I was thinking the unkillable was like disgusting, right? I mean, it's objectively better because if you put 1 crit damage and 1 crit, you know, or 1 speed set together, it's still better stats and you get the unkillable. But looking back, like the deflection set after climbing, you know, going through playing a lot of arena, I could see having deflection set being completely nuts because I've been using, do you use immunity gear at all in arena? Have you found yourself messing around with that? Because I have a pretty good crit damage set of immunity I've tried on some different characters like Rolos and some other. Rolos doesn't work the best because he relentlesses himself and then his immunity's gone and he frees himself. But I found on some other characters, the immunity actually works pretty good with high crit damage. You can use Arbiter and then, you know, not get frozen and pop off that way. But it seems really hard to get like lots of fast sets of gear with high damage in that set. But have you had any experience using those at all?
Yes, I have played around with immunity gear mainly on Hawkhorn Smash Lord because he's got that AoE cleanse and then block debuffs. So all he has to do is stay immune until his turn, and then I can absorb everything, cleanse everything, and block debuffs. So in terms of a defensive setup, I did a video on him. He's really going to shine in immunity gear because if he gets his ability off, it's absolutely game changing. So he's the main one that I've tested it on. But like you said, you know, a couple minutes ago, I have never really felt the need to push towards platinum. I don't know if these artifacts do it for me. I'm gonna have to see what the rewards are for the people that are in that 21 to 300 tier.
Yeah, because if I'm a little concerned that, I mean, we'll find out here in a few hours, right? But I'm a little concerned that like the top 3 get 6-star legendary gear, you know, 5 through 21 get 6-star epic gear, and everyone else is getting like 5-star unkillable deflection gear. You know what I mean? There's a real big jump for just the top few. That could be a huge bummer. They didn't say that in the update. So we'll find out in a few hours. I'm trying to make it to platinum to see what the rewards are like now. I'm like 50 points off or something, but you know, it climbs almost as fast as you can climb. Like if you don't have 100% win rate, it climbs pretty quickly. I probably have like 60, 70%. On stream today, I was even struggling not to, you know, fall in some of these battles. I have a 313 speed Arbiter, which I feel like is pretty decent. I'm getting outsped a lot of times still. So it's like, it's pretty hard, I feel like. And plus the RNG of Rodos into Tormund, there's a lot of there's more C-fees than I would have imagined for it just being a 10x event. It almost feels like it was like a 2x event with C-fee having a 10x. She's everywhere, which maybe goes to show that people that are really, really into arena spend a lot more money because they're competitive. I don't know. What's your opinion on that with C-fee actually?
Yeah, no, I found that fascinating because I don't know if you saw my video on platinum usage rate, but Sify was in the top 10 of platinum usage, and that was after she'd been out for like 5 days.
Yeah,
that's insane. I was like, how is she in the top 10 of usage rate when she came out 5 days ago? And Rodos was number 4. So number 4 and number 10 were champions that were 5 days old. So what this tells So what this tells you is that people that are in platinum are spending an exorbitant amount of money. Like, I mean, I can't imagine the amount of void shards that were pulled to get for that many people to get Sify.
And not only like a tons of money, but these are also people who are spending a lot of time on gear because like I have fairly good gear. You know how much money I've spent too. I got good characters for Arena, and it's still a struggle. You know, I mean, it's still a struggle. You can say, sure, I suck. You know, maybe there's some factor that in it, but on top of it, it's still hard. Like there's a lot of people out there with way better rosters and way better gear than I realized until the Platinum Arena really started kind of getting locked down. I feel like now it's kind of the point where people are trying, and it's a lot harder anyway.
I don't get there's tier structure. Obviously, this amount of people are spending a lot of money. Why would you make the tiers like top 3 and then top 20? Like,
what happened was they copied the structure of competitive games that have unlimited queue systems, you know, like League of Legends or whatever, where you have, you know, the top 8 Grandmaster and stuff like that. Like, they copied that structure. It's like, that doesn't work in the non-queued competitive format. Like, we can't spam matches without spending money. It's not the same thing. Whereas these other games, you play long format and then you have like an ELO system, like a skill rating system, and you don't really have that in this game. You just have, you know, you beat this point, you get X amount of points based upon how far they are down. And it's kind of unfortunate, but it's not. Arena's better than it used to be, I almost feel like, though. Even with Sify and all this garbage and RNG, I feel like before it was strictly, you're fast, you win. And now there's maybe a little bit more to it.
Yep, I talked about that in my video with Kizzle. How you know, hate or love Tormund, at least it shook things up. I think it shook up things in the wrong way. But you're right. It used to be, okay, my Arbiter is 320, yours is 314. I win. GG. Yeah, and that's literally all that mattered. You saw a few people with insane rosters and insane gear going the defense route, but it was not, you know, really sustainable. Tormund really changed everything, just kind of in an annoying and RNG way. So the idea was good, the implementation and execution was a little bit off.
And kind of another topic that we were going over, but we didn't cover in detail. We talked about the unkillable, like you're saying, but we didn't talk too much about the deflection. So one thing I wanted to ask you was the deflection kit. What characters do you potentially see? I mean, I know it's a deflection, so it's based upon the other enemy's debuffs is really how it matters. But on what type of characters would you think you find yourself, you know, meta arena characters that you're putting this deflection on? I'm thinking people like Sify, if you had her, maybe.
Yeah, no, for sure. Anybody and defense characters are going to be even better because one of the strongest debuffs or one of the strong debuffs is decreased defense. Well, now if you can reflect that decreased defense, not only do your defense characters keep their defense, but now it's reflected and they have lower defense. So I feel like it's just going to strengthen the defense meta that we're kind of seeing in the arena. I could be wrong on that. These things always kind of play out a little bit different once they go live, but it seems like the defense is going to be even stronger now with the reflect set.
And I was kind of wondering, do you think it might show us a little bit of a change in the meta where you don't run Tormund? Because if you run Tormund and it's AoE and the other person has deflection on all 4 people, let's just say you put deflection on literally everyone on your team, okay? And then the plan is if they ever use Tormund AoE, they get deflected. They get deflected, the taunts get deflected, the freezes get deflected, stun if they're running stun sets, things like that get deflected. Mm-hmm. You know, that's another interesting thing. I wonder if it's going to reflect unresistible, if unresistible will affect it, you know? If that has any influence, weak hits, stuff like that.
I would bet you can resist a reflection. It just wouldn't make sense really to me if you can't resist a reflection.
Because the reason I'm wondering is all gear sets are unresistible. So like stun and taunt sets are unresistible, for instance. So are they going to go the same route like you're saying? Are they going to make the deflection unresisted, or are they going to go the route of it being, like you're saying, where you have to have an accuracy check to resist it? That would kind of probably change whether it's good or not as well.
Yeah. No, that's a big thing that we need to know because, that's going to affect the value of those gear sets a lot. And, if it's a 100% chance to land every single time it reflects, like that set's going to be absolutely insane. It's going to be needed on every person on every team, or you're just going to have to run champions who don't do any sort of debuffing or anything. It's like, that'll change things if that's 100% proc rate.
That's true. We could see, the meta of people like Mountain King rising to the surface once again. Mm-hmm. All right, my friend. Well, I want to thank you very much for coming on this channel here and having a conversation with us and with me. And you can see the multiple personalities coming out here. and enjoying the time together. And anything you want to say to the boys, the whale pod, on the way out the door here?
No, it's thanks for having me. It's always fun to touch base with you every couple weeks and throw a video out there to the whale pod. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. All right, guys. And congratulations, of course, I want to say at the end to my friend, Brad Alcazar, for hitting 30,000 subscribers. The man earned it. Round of applause in here and in the chat or the comments later on. Love you, brother. Congratulations, and we'll see y'all later. Bye-bye. Peace. I did it for you.